Dear all, we all know that health is the most valuable asset of human beings, especially for the elderly. As we age, the body also changes, the digestive system works more slowly, blood vessels are more vulnerable, and the risk of stroke is also higher. Therefore, maintaining reasonable living habits after meals is extremely important to protect health and reduce the risk of stroke. Today, I would like to share with you things that you should absolutely not do after eating to maintain your health, especially for the elderly. First, do not lie down immediately after eating. Lying down immediately after eating can cause many health problems, especially related to digestion and circulation. When lying down, especially in a supine or tilted position, gastric juices are easily refluxed into the esophagus due to the reduced effect of gravity, leading to a burning sensation in the chest, heartburn, and even esophagitis if this condition persists. In addition, the digestive process is also affected when the movement of food in the stomach and small intestine slows down, causing bloating, indigestion, heaviness, and can even lead to constipation or digestive disorders. Not only that, lying down right after eating also causes more blood flow to the stomach, reducing blood flow to the brain, causing fatigue, lethargy, dizziness, and even increasing the risk of stroke in people with underlying cardiovascular disease. If you eat late at night and lie down right away to sleep, the body has not fully digested the food, causing heaviness and difficulty sleeping, and acid reflux at night can interrupt sleep, causing stress to the nervous system. To overcome this situation, after eating, you should sit up straight or walk lightly for about 15 to 30 minutes to aid digestion. If you need to rest, you can lie down in a half-sitting, half-lying position instead of lying down completely. In addition, you should also avoid eating too much or using greasy, spicy foods in the evening to reduce the risk of reflux. Changing this small habit can bring great benefits to digestive and circulatory health. Second, do not exercise vigorously or walk immediately after meals. Exercising vigorously or walking immediately after meals can cause many negative effects on health, especially on the digestive and circulatory systems. After eating, the body prioritizes blood flow to the digestive system to support stomach contractions, digestive enzyme secretion, and nutrient absorption. If you exercise vigorously right after a meal, especially brisk walking, jogging, or exercising, more blood will be distributed to the muscles, reducing the amount of blood supplied to the digestive system, causing bloating, indigestion, and even slowing down the rate of nutrient absorption. Not only that, vigorous activity right after eating also puts pressure on the lower esophageal sphincter, increasing the risk of gastroesophageal reflux with symptoms such as heartburn, acid reflux, and chest tightness. In addition, because the digestive process requires a large amount of blood to function effectively, if you exercise right after eating, more blood will be distributed to the muscles, causing a temporary drop in blood pressure, making the body tired, dizzy, and even increasing the risk of stroke in people with a history of cardiovascular disease, low blood pressure, or the elderly. Moreover, the digestive system is still processing food to absorb nutrients. If it is interrupted by exercising too soon, the ability to metabolize and absorb nutrients will be affected, which can have a negative impact on overall health in the long run. To limit these risks, after a light meal, you can do light exercise for about 20 to 30 minutes. After a main meal, you should wait at least 30 to 60 minutes before walking or doing light exercise. If you eat a lot of protein and fat, the waiting time can be extended to 60 to 90 minutes. If you really want to exercise right after eating, you can do some gentle movements such as sitting up straight and breathing deeply to stimulate blood circulation without putting pressure on the digestive system. Doing gentle stretching or stretching exercises while standing, or walking slowly under 3 kilometers per hour for 5 to 10 minutes, but you should not walk too fast or far. Adjusting the appropriate exercise time after meals not only helps the digestive system work more effectively but also reduces the risk of serious health problems such as gastric reflux, low blood pressure, and stroke. Third, do not drink strong tea or coffee immediately after a meal. Drinking strong tea or coffee immediately after a meal can have many negative effects on health, especially on the absorption of nutrients and the functioning of the digestive system. Tea and coffee contain a lot of caffeine and tannin, two compounds that can affect the metabolism of iron and protein in the body. After eating, the digestive system is in the process of absorbing nutrients, especially iron from food. However, tannins in tea and coffee can combine with non-heme iron, the type of iron found in plants and some animal foods, to form insoluble compounds, reducing the ability to absorb iron into the blood. This is especially worrying for people with anemia or at risk of anemia, because iron is an important component that helps produce hemoglobin, a protein that transports oxygen in the blood. If there is a lack of iron, the body is prone to fatigue, dizziness, weakness, and paleness. Not only does it affect iron, caffeine in tea and coffee also affects protein digestion. After a meal, the body needs an environment with a suitable pH to effectively break down and absorb protein. Caffeine can stimulate excessive gastric acid secretion, causing an imbalance in the pH in the stomach, thereby affecting the activity of protein-digesting enzymes such as pepsin. This can reduce the efficiency of protein metabolism, causing indigestion, bloating, and even increasing the risk of stomach ulcers if this habit occurs regularly. In addition, caffeine also stimulates the nervous system, increasing heart rate and blood pressure, which can be especially dangerous for people with cardiovascular disease or high blood pressure. After eating, the body has to coordinate blood to the digestive system. If it is simultaneously stimulated by caffeine, the heart has to work harder, increasing pressure on the circulatory system, easily leading to a state of nervousness, rapid heartbeat, dizziness, and nervous tension. The best solution is to avoid drinking strong tea or coffee immediately after a meal. If you need to drink tea, choose weak tea or wait at least 30 to 60 minutes after eating to reduce the negative impact on the absorption of iron and protein. Instead, drinking warm water or filtered water will help the digestive system work better, supporting the breakdown and absorption of nutrients without overstimulating the stomach and nervous system. Maintaining the habit of drinking water properly after meals not only helps protect the digestive system but also improves overall health, especially for those at risk of anemia, cardiovascular disease, or high blood pressure. Fourth, do not shower immediately after eating. Bathing immediately after eating can have many negative effects on the digestive and circulatory systems, especially reducing the efficiency of food digestion, causing blood pressure disorders and even increasing the risk of stroke in some subjects. After eating, the body needs a large amount of blood to flow to the stomach and intestines to support the digestive process. The digestive system is now working hard to contract, secrete enzymes, and absorb nutrients. However, when bathing, especially hot water, the body tends to regulate temperature by dilating blood vessels under the skin, causing a significant amount of blood to be diverted away from the stomach to supply the skin and peripheral organs. This reduces the amount of blood needed to digest food, causing this process to be interrupted, which can lead to bloating, indigestion, nausea, and prolonged bloating. Not only does it affect digestion, bathing immediately after eating can also cause blood pressure disorders. When blood rushes to the skin to cool the body, blood pressure can drop slightly, causing dizziness, lightheadedness, and even fainting, especially in people with a history of low blood pressure or weak cardiovascular system. In more serious cases, if blood pressure drops too much and blood flow to the brain is suddenly reduced, the risk of stroke can increase, especially in the elderly and people with circulatory problems. In addition, the change in temperature when bathing immediately after a meal can cause heat shock to the body. If the water is too cold, the body can react by suddenly constricting blood vessels, obstructing blood flow to the digestive system and vital organs. On the contrary, water that is too hot can dilate blood vessels more strongly, causing blood pressure to drop more quickly, leading to dizziness and a feeling of fatigue after bathing. The best solution is to wait at least 1 to 2 hours after eating before bathing, so that the body has enough time to digest and absorb nutrients. During this time, you can do light activities such as sitting, relaxing, walking slowly, or reading to help digestion work more effectively without affecting blood circulation. Maintaining the habit of bathing at the right time will help protect the digestive system, stabilize blood pressure, and minimize the risk of serious health complications. Fifth, do not eat fruit immediately after a meal. Eating fruit immediately after a meal can have a negative impact on the digestive system and the body's ability to absorb nutrients. Although fruit is an important source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, the timing of consumption plays a decisive role in maximizing the benefits without harming your health. Fruits contain a lot of natural sugars such as fructose, glucose, sucrose, along with organic acids. When eaten immediately after a meal, especially when the stomach is full of starch, protein, and fat, the digestion process may be delayed. In the warm and humid environment of the stomach, the sugar in fruit is easily fermented by intestinal bacteria, producing gas and chemical compounds that cause bloating, flatulence, indigestion, and a feeling of heaviness. Not only that, the amount of sugar and acid in fruit can slow down the digestion of protein and starch, affecting the absorption of important nutrients such as iron, zinc, calcium, and protein, which is especially harmful to people with anemia or weak digestive systems. In addition, many fruits such as oranges, tangerines, pineapples, and mangoes contain citric and malic acids. If eaten immediately after a meal, they can stimulate the secretion of gastric juice, increasing the risk of gastroesophageal reflux, causing heartburn, and discomfort, especially dangerous for people with a history of stomach ulcers. In addition, because fruits contain fructose and glucose, eating them immediately after a main meal can suddenly increase blood sugar levels, which is not good for diabetics or those at risk of the disease, as it can disrupt blood sugar control and increase the risk of insulin resistance. To avoid negative effects, the best time to eat fruit is 30 to 60 minutes before a meal so that the digestive system can absorb sugar and nutrients faster. 1 to 2 hours after a meal to avoid fermentation and digestive disorders, or eat it as a morning or afternoon snack to maintain stable energy without putting pressure on the digestive system. If you really want to eat fruit after a meal, you can choose low-sugar and low-acid fruits such as cucumbers, avocados, or berries such as strawberries and blueberries, and combine them with yogurt to support better digestion thanks to probiotic bacteria. Maintaining the habit of eating fruit at the right time not only helps increase nutrient absorption but also minimizes digestive problems, protects stomach health, and stabilizes blood sugar. 6th, do not drink cold water immediately after eating. Drinking cold water immediately after eating can have a negative impact on the digestive system, blood circulation, and even have a negative impact on people with cardiovascular disease. Although water is an essential component to help maintain body functions, the temperature of the water when consumed can determine the effectiveness of the digestion and absorption of nutrients. When drinking cold water immediately after a meal, the sudden change in temperature in the stomach can cause blood vessels to constrict and affect the digestive system. After eating, the stomach needs a warm environment to secrete digestive enzymes and contract food effectively. Cold water can reduce the temperature in the stomach, slowing down the digestion process, affecting the ability to break down protein, starch, and fat. This not only increases the risk of bloating and indigestion, but can also cause food to stay in the stomach longer, creating conditions for bacteria to ferment, leading to bloating and flatulence. In addition, cold water can solidify fat from food in the stomach, disrupting the fat emulsification process. Emulsification is the process of separating fat into small particles so that the lipase enzyme can easily break down and absorb it. When fat is solidified by cold water, it can clump into large clumps, slowing down digestion and increasing the risk of excess fat accumulation in the body. Not only affecting the digestive system, cold water can also negatively affect the circulatory system, especially in people with cardiovascular disease. When drinking cold water, the body has a reflex to constrict blood vessels to retain heat, which increases pressure on the heart, forcing the heart to pump blood harder to maintain circulation. In people with heart disease or high blood pressure, this sudden vasoconstriction can increase the risk of blood pressure fluctuations, rapid heartbeat, or even angina. In people with low blood pressure, cold water can temporarily reduce blood flow, leading to dizziness, lightheadedness, and fatigue. Furthermore, cold water can stimulate the vagus nerve, a part of the autonomic nervous system that regulates heart rate and digestion. When strongly stimulated by cold water, this nerve can suddenly reduce heart rate, causing nausea, dizziness, or even fainting in some rare cases. The best solution is to replace cold water with warm or room temperature water to aid digestion and maintain stable circulation. Warm water helps stimulate blood flow to the digestive system, supports enzymes to work more effectively, and helps the body absorb nutrients optimally. If you really want to drink cold water, wait at least 30 to 60 minutes after a meal to avoid affecting the digestive process. Maintaining the habit of drinking warm water instead of cold water right after a meal not only helps protect the digestive system but also stabilizes blood pressure, reduces pressure on the heart, and supports more effective fat metabolism, contributing to improving overall health. 7th, do not smoke after meals. Smoking right after meals is an extremely harmful habit, not only affecting the respiratory system but also increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, and digestive disorders. After eating, the body enters a state of intense activity to digest food, in which blood circulation increases significantly to provide oxygen and nutrients to the stomach and digestive organs. At this time, smoking will significantly increase the absorption rate of toxic substances in cigarettes, making the harmful effects of nicotine and thousands of other chemicals in cigarette smoke many times more dangerous than normal. After eating, blood flow to the stomach and intestines increases to support the digestive process. When smoking at this time, the dilated blood vessels will absorb nicotine and carbon monoxide faster, causing the concentration of toxic substances in the blood to increase suddenly. Carbon monoxide has a 200 times higher affinity for hemoglobin than oxygen, causing red blood cells to preferentially bind to carbon monoxide instead of oxygen, reducing the ability to transport oxygen to cells. This leads to local hypoxia in the body, causing fatigue, dizziness, and seriously affecting the functioning of the heart and brain. Smoking right after a meal also significantly increases the risk of cardiovascular disease, especially stroke. Nicotine in cigarettes has the effect of constricting blood vessels and increasing blood pressure, while after eating, the body has to coordinate a large amount of blood flow to the digestive system. The combination of increased pressure on the circulatory system and vasoconstriction due to nicotine can disrupt the heart rhythm, increase the risk of blood clots, cause blood vessel blockage, and even lead to myocardial infarction or stroke in people at high risk. Smoking after meals also impairs digestive function by inhibiting the activity of the salivary glands and reducing the amount of digestive enzymes secreted, making it difficult for food to be broken down and absorbed. In addition, nicotine increases gastric acid secretion, facilitating the growth of Helicobacter pylori bacteria, one of the main causes of stomach ulcers, acid reflux, and chronic stomach pain. If this habit is maintained for a long time, the risk of diseases such as gastric and duodenal ulcers and even stomach cancer will increase significantly. After meals, the body needs a large amount of oxygen to support metabolism and digestion. When smoking, toxic substances in cigarette smoke such as benzene, formaldehyde, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons will directly enter the lungs and blood, reducing oxygen exchange efficiency and causing serious damage to the alveoli. In the long term, this can lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, increasing the risk of lung cancer and other respiratory diseases. If you cannot quit smoking, at least avoid smoking for 30 to 60 minutes after meals to reduce negative impacts on the circulatory and digestive systems. Ideally, quitting smoking completely will bring long-term benefits, helping to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, lung cancer, and improve the quality of life. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle, combining proper nutrition and scientific exercise will help protect the body from the dangerous effects caused by cigarettes. Dear all, our health is in our own hands. Habits that seem harmless, but if repeated every day, they can cause serious consequences. To protect our health and reduce the risk of stroke, let's change from the smallest things in life. Eat and drink in moderation, rest properly, and maintain a healthy lifestyle. We wish you good health, happiness, and energy. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, so we can continue sharing helpful advice together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.